The second order of the day is the second reading of the Federal Nephrology and Kidney Research and Treatment Center, Hadejia, Establishment Act Bill 2022. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 10th November 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Ibrahim Hadejia to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. This is a lead debate on a bill to establish the National Nephrology and Kidney Research Center, Hadejia, Jigawa State, and for other matters connected therewith, Bill 2022 SB 385. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on the subject bill which was read for the first time on Tuesday, 10th of March 2020. Mr. President, chronic kidney disease, or CKD, has become a major public health problem in Nigeria, with some estimates putting prevalence at around 20%, or 6% higher than the African average, translating to an estimated 25 million Nigerians suffering from the disease. The figure could be much higher if misdiagnosis and undocumented informal or traditional treatment is taken into consideration. Leading causes include untreated hypertension, diabetes, exposure to certain toxins found in industrial reagents, water contaminated with heavy metals, and runoff from toxins and chemicals found in agricultural inputs. The problem is particularly dire when one considers that Nigeria has one of the worst variables in availability and affordability of dialysis and advanced CKD treatment availability in the world. Over the last 12 years, there is a noticeable escalation of CKD and outright renal failure in the Hadejia area of Jigawa and parts of Yobe, and preliminary studies commissioned by the state government confirmed this about 5 years ago. Outside the usual causative factors, it's very likely that the contamination of groundwater by agricultural pesticides and chemicals following the exponential expansion of rice cultivation is to blame. And the high water table in the region makes the ground and river water, which is the only source of drinking water in the area, particularly susceptible to leaching and runoff. Another study conducted by NARICT, that's the National Research Institute for Chemical Technology Zaria, in 2015, confirmed the abnormally high incidence of CKD in the Hadejia Valley, with a prevalence that is 3 times the national average. The study also confirmed the presence of heavy metals and other environmental toxins in the water supply and in the sample liver of local livestock and poultry. The National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has also reported very high concentrations of cadmium and lead in samples of drinking water from the area, ranging from 0.07 to 0.20 ppm and up to 0.30 ppm for cadmium and lead respectively. Almost all these elements are nephrotoxic in nature. Yet again, in 2021, the Federal University Dutse got a 36 million grant from TED Fund to undertake a research titled Rampant Kidney Disease in Hadejia Valley, Yobe, and Kano states, following the alarming statistics derived from hospital records in Jigawa and environs. Findings from at least 3 of the concluded research projects confirm a CKD incidence that is between 300 to 500% of the national average. And there is no dedicated renal center in both Jigawa and Yobe states, although there are dialysis facilities in the federal medical centers and some general hospitals that are absolutely overwhelmed by renal patients. CKD sufferers are therefore forced to go to Kano, where the situation is also dire, with instances of only 8 out of 20 dialysis machines working in AKTH and 4 out of 6 in Wase Hospital, leaving only private facilities where the unsubsidized cost is almost 5 times that of the government hospitals. The Jigawa and Yobe state governments offer free dialysis in government hospitals, and there is even a donor-founded dialysis center in Hadejia that heavily subsidizes the procedure, but the waiting list can stretch to months because of the deluge of patients. The scenario renders dialysis for more than 2 weeks unaffordable for 96% of RRT patients, and the NHIS doesn't presently cover the procedure, which can cost as much as 300,000 naira a month without cost of drugs. So a diagnosis of end-stage renal disease is as good as a death sentence for anyone diagnosed with end-stage renal failure in these areas. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, this is why the siting of a kidney research and treatment center in Hadejia becomes imperative. There is an urgent need to locate a center of excellence dedicated to establishing the causative factors and treatment options in the renal disease epicenter of Nigeria for the benefit of kidney disease patients nationwide. The interest generated by concerned experts in the field and the preliminary results of the various investigative and research endeavors justifies the urgent call for the involvement of the federal government to intervene in halting an endemic